Everybody. Welcome to Gotta Be Handmade. I'm Linda. I'm the YouTube personality behind the Gotta Be Handmade channel. I bring attention to handmade artists through my social media platforms. And today I have Craig joining me, and we're going to talk about his exquisite handcrafted organic clocks and some other things that Craig makes. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I'm glad that we're joining you in your studio. What are you working on?
Well, I know you invited me to talk about clocks, which I do have right here. I believe you were inquiring about these clocks.
Oh, Craig, it's exquisite. I just love it. Now, what is it made from?
Well, this particular one, this one's called a splock because of the shape.
Okay.
These are all made of Baltic birch plywood. I do have a small piece here. It's a very nice quality plywood. There's 13 plies to it, unlike some of the cheaper plywood you think of when you think of construction grade. This is a cabinet grade plywood.
Okay.
The reason I started making the clocks was I had a lot of pieces of plywood left over about this size from making benches. That's what I'm working on today. I'm gluing up a bench.
Okay.
I'll try to pan the camera over here. I do a lot of these little benches here.
Oh my goodness.
So as you can see, this area here, when it gets cut out, I have that left over. So I started making little clocks. That splock that I just showed you. I also do other shapes. I make triangle clocks. These are my patterns that I use.
Yes.
Here's the splock again. That's how I trace it out and then cut all my pieces out.
Okay.
And then a boomerang, more of a retro shape. But as far as how the process goes, I would take one of my patterns.
Okay.
I'll lay that here. I would then trace it out on a piece of the Baltic birch plywood that I have.
Okay.
I would cut a couple of those pieces out, glue them together, and clamp them, leave them overnight. And then the next day I go back in and I start to carve and sculpt out the different rounded edges. I don't know if you can see it there in the camera, but
yes.
It's not a straight edge. There's definitely a curve there, and everything is sculpted out.
Yes.
And then I use a stain. I do natural finishes. A lot of people like the fun colors, so I do mix up some different stains. This particular one has a polyurethane finish on it. That's kind of what gives it that gloss.
It's beautiful, Craig. It's just beautiful. Now, when we order those from you, will they be ready to hang, or do we have to do something, put a hanger on the back?
They are ready to hang. They do come with a hanger. But the great thing about the shapes that I do, they're very abstract. So this one is meant to hang, obviously, this way. But if you can put a hook on either side, so it would hang differently. I mean, it can hang on your wall like that or like that. Yeah. There are no numbers, so it's just a very abstract clock.
But it is a working clock.
Yes, it is a working clock. There is a mechanism on the back side. It does take one AA battery.
Okay.
I do not send a battery with the clock, so you have to use your own battery.
All right.
And I do ship the hands in a envelope with a piece of cardboard so they don't get bent in the box. But those just snap right on to the clock mechanism.
Okay. Now, Craig, you said that it's covered in polyurethane. So all we have to do is just keep it dusted?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, just a soft, damp cloth will keep these clean, and the batteries last for a few years at a time. So, very low maintenance. Oh, except for the twice a year, you may need to set forward or go back time. We just had that yesterday. But otherwise, it's just a nice, bright piece of color and art on your walls.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, Craig, you also make the benches behind you?
Yes. That's probably my, I'll pan the camera here again. That's one of my better sellers. I've been making these for almost 11 years now. They're called idea benches. This particular one's a single bench with the curved top. I make these with a flat top, so you can use them as a side table or even just a flat top
Yes.
bench. I've made these up to 6 foot long. So if you had this is a 2-foot bench. If you had a
Okay.
6-foot bench, it would have 3 curves in it. A 4-foot bench has 2 curves, 2 seats. And
It's beautiful.
I make other tables and things also. And that's what I was working on today, as I mentioned. I'll move this out of the way and I'll show you how the process goes for one of the benches.
Okay.
And it
Beautiful.
And it is the same process as the clocks also. I don't know if you can see this here. In fact, I may try to move the camera here closer.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, there you go. So this right now has 10 layers of plywood. Those pieces of plywood that I showed you in the beginning. Ultimately, this bench will have 22 pieces of plywood. I keep gluing layers up, and then I go back in and carve out the shape of the bench that I want.
Okay.
So this would be the same process for the clocks. On the clocks, though, I just do 2 of the pieces of plywood, so they're 1.5 inches thick.
Okay.
Versus a bench that ends up being, say, around 16 inches thick.
Okay. I love the movement in your words.
Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Now, Craig,
yes.
how did you get started making your woodworks?
That's a great question. Actually, like everyone else that has any kind of hobby or art or craft that they like to do, I have always been working with wood ever since a child. My grandfather was a carpenter. He lived close to us, so he was always showing me things. When I was a small child, we had just moved into a new house. My dad had a lot of lumber and scraps laying around, so he always let me play with his tools and the scrap wood laying around. So I've always been making things. After my wife and I got married about 20 years ago, I made a bunch of furniture just out of necessity. We couldn't afford to buy new furniture, so I made some furniture. Some of those things didn't turn out too nice, but it was a learning curve. Then I started designing my own furniture. I really love mid-century furniture, 50s and 60s pieces. I love the organic shapes and curves of that time period. So I started designing a lot of furniture. I wanted to make things that you can't just go to the store and find. I wanted to make things that were unique and different. And I did a lot of that while working a full-time job. And then it was 2006. I took the big jump. I quit my job. I started doing this full-time. So a lot of these pieces I've been making for, like I said, 10, 11 years. It's been fun. But just like everyone else, it starts as a hobby. You know, you just can't get away from it. You always want to make something. You always want to create.
I'm glad you did, Craig. I'm so glad that you started this full time and you offer us your pieces. They are exquisite. Now tell us where we can purchase your things from.
Well, I believe you found me on Etsy. There's a great website. I do have a page there under Alec. My name is Craig Siebeneck, but my company name is Alec Reid Design. So if you type in Alec Reid Design on Etsy, some of my benches will come up. It'll take you to my page. I am also on custommade.com. It is a furniture website. I am on artfulhome.com. That is an art and furniture website. I have my own personal website at alecreiddesign.com. They can find me there. In fact, type in my name, Craig Siebeneck, or Alec Reid Design. Just Google it, hit images. You'll see some of my furniture, and you can even go from there.
Oh, thank you so much, Craig. And thank you for joining me. I'm a big fan of your pieces. I encourage you to continue on. I love your works.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. And I appreciate that you are doing what you do for the art community and helping to promote everything that's handmade. Thank you very much.
Craig. I know you're busy and you have to go. And everybody, I'm going to put all of Craig's links under the video as soon as it downloads, and you'll be able to find his exquisite wooden pieces. Again, Craig, thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. You have a wonderful day.
You too. And everybody, remember, for the best, it's just gotta be handmade. Bye-bye.